Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists. So today we have Cormac Adams' 4th place deck list from the Furhouse Dublin Regional. He went 5-1 with Pendulum Magicians. So we have an interview with Cormac. What we're going to do is I'll run through the deck list first, take a quick look at some of the matches and rounds that he played, and then we'll bring him on to have a chat about the deck. So we start off with a triple Astrograph, triple Black Fang, triple Chronograph, triple Harmonizing, then we have a Mythical Beast engine, so double Jackal King and triple Cerberus, then 2 Oath Dragon Magician, 3 Purple Poison, 1 Stargazer and triple Darkworm, double Gate 0, 1 Time Gazer obviously to go with Chronograph, double Dragon Shrine, double Duelist Alliance, 1 Foolish, 1 Pendulum Call, triple Desires, 1 Upstart, and 1 Time Pendulum Graph, so working its way back in. Then for the extra we'll do first, we have the Vortex Dragon, obviously, double Supreme Starving Venom, it's just such a useful card. Then Ignista, 1 Omega, and the 1 Supreme Clearing to clear boards, 1 Dweller, which is quite cool to see in the main. Quite a lot of people are just citing this now. 1 Harbinger to go with your Mythical Beast engine, and also you can make rank 8s a lot more easily with Supreme King Starving Venom, so that's a nice option to have. 1 Absolute, 1 Supreme Dark Rebellion, 1 Tornado, 1 Decode, double Electromite, and 1 Zephyr Metaltron. For the side deck, triple Ash Blossom, triple Ra, triple Cyclone, triple Dimensional Barrier, and triple Evenly Matched. So we'll go through the rounds that he played first. So round 1, he 2-0'd Mermails. Round 2, he lost to Invoked Wind Witch 0-2. Round 3 against Pendulum Magicians, he won 2-1. Round 4 against Pendulum Magicians, he won 2-1. And round 5, True Draco, 2-1. Round 6 against another True Draco, and he 2-0'd them. So just the 1 loss to Invoked Wind Witch, and he did face a reasonable amount of meta actually. In the 6 rounds that he played, you went up against 2 Pendulum Magicians, 2 True Draco, and then Invoked you can definitely drop in with a meta. So only the 1 Mermail really that wasn't a meta deck that you had to face. My initial comments on the list before we bring him on, I like that he's got the 3rd Black Fang in, because some people were saying that they wanted to see the 3rd and they didn't have it, so it's cool to see that either he's picked up on that from other people's or he's just been testing it and found that it's always been useful for him. Bumped up to double Dragon Shrine means that he's going to be more likely to see Darkworm, which is quite cool. And sometimes we see Duelist Alliance played at 3 or 1 actually as well. So 2 is like, it's sort of one of this cards that you want to see sometimes, but not all the time. Where, because you can only activate it once per turn and it doesn't necessarily put you significantly far ahead. It just doesn't benefit as much as Desires helps you. But it goes with the Pendulum Call, and you can search out the Trap as well, which is quite nice. For the side deck, obviously Hand Trap's now a sided thing because you need to be able to stop stuff like Gemini FTK and things like that. Ra for mirror matches. 4 negate boards are pretty strong and you have to have outs to them, and then it's just sort of the generic stuff that we're used to for the typical side decks actually. I think these 9 cards, well at least these 6 cards are in pretty much every side deck that we've covered at the moment. Probably these 3 as well, that makes the 9. But yeah, that's everything that I've got to say to start things off. Let's get Cormac on the line and have a chat about the deck. Hi Cormac, how are you doing?
Hey, Drew.
So congratulations on doing so well with your deck. How did you find the event?
The event was very well run. It was run by one of the more well-known sort of established judges in Ireland, Dan Neville, and
Okay.
he runs one of the locals down in Dublin, and he's a really nice guy, and he knows how to prepare an event well.
Yeah, that's cool. And just been through the list already. It's good to see you brought the Black Fang up to 3 because we've seen a lot of people drop it and then regret it.
Yeah.
Drop it down to 2.
I had that feeling for a bit as well.
Yeah. How did you find the Mythical Beast engine worked for you?
The Mythical Beast engine was something that I changed from when I played the deck at YCS Bochum. When I was testing it for that event for a little bit, I wasn't that big of a fan of it, but in the past week or two, I've been trying it out, and I just realized the power of it because it's another starter card with the Cerberus, and
Yeah.
also just giving you an extra monster negate, which surprisingly
Hmm.
enough was actually even pretty good going into boards, especially with the Cerberus because
Yeah.
you can bait out a lot of negates that your opponents will have.
Yeah, that's pretty cool as well. And I guess you chose not to play Narita, but I guess you didn't really need it if you have access to Harbinger and
Yeah, yeah.
Tornado as well and things like
Yeah,
that.
the problem that I had with Naruto was that while it can negate spell and trap cards, which is good for negating things like evenly, you already have the out to evenly with things like Vortex if you're going to game 2 and 3, because most people aren't going to be maining it. And
Yeah.
what I preferred about Hope Harbinger is that a lot of the time you're going to have sort of mismatching levels because like there's actually not as many level 4s in the deck as like there was before. Because we
Yeah.
lost stuff like Double Iris and Joker, and then I'm also not playing Wisdom Eye, which I'll probably get onto in a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a lot of times where you just don't have enough level 6s, but also being able to make the double Starving Venom, copy the Electromite, and add back enough cards into your hand while still being able to end in a gauge with the Hope Harbinger means that you have more of a play going to the next turn, just in case they're able to break your board. And the Harbinger is usually also better because it can negate the spell effects as well, so you can negate the scale effects that are attempting to use them, like the
True.
Mythical
Yeah.
Beasts. And also it stops, excuse me, it also stops your opponent just going normal summon purple poison the mirror match and like outing your vortex so you can summon it from defense. So that's pretty good as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's quite cool. Yeah, so as you said, Wisdom Eye, not in here. What's the reasoning behind that?
So I was playing it for the longest time, but I wanted to try and find a way to fit in the time pendulum graph. And I was originally going
Yeah.
to be playing more copies of Pendulum Call as well. Because what I found is that Wisdom Eye, while it is a good card, what happens is that a lot of the time you're going to be scaling your gate zeros and your chronographs to be using for Pendulum Summon, and it doesn't really
Yeah.
interact with those cards. And also along with the fact that it's not a dark. And the main idea of this deck is that going first, you always want to end on Vortex plus Hope Harbinger, and to do that you need to have a bunch
Yeah.
of dark pendulum monsters. So Wisdom Eye doesn't really contribute to that. And there's not as many level
Okay.
4s in the deck as I said earlier, so the rank
Yeah.
4 toolbox isn't as open to me as it is in other Magician Pendulum variants, I think.
Yeah. And most of the decks we've seen before have played the one Dragon Shrine, so you went up to two. Is that just so you can maximize seeing the Dark Worm and getting the double dark
Yeah. So
on board?
I found that when I was playing the one Dragon Shrine and the one Foolish, I wasn't seeing it quite as much as I liked. I just wanted enough ways to
Yeah.
guarantee me being able to make the Electromite before I went into my Pendulum Summon, which I suppose worked out because there wasn't a single hand either going first or second throughout the entire tournament that I had to Pendulum Summon before I make the Electromite, which I thought was pretty good.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, apart from that, it all looks pretty solid. You opted for Time Pendulum Graph, but you mentioned that already.
Yeah, I'm kind of iffy on the card. I'm not too sure if I'm going to be keeping it in because the main problem I had with it before was that I really hated kind of seeing it going second.
Yeah.
Or just usually you had enough negates on the board anyway, or it wasn't too relevant. The main idea was that I would put it in because I expected quite a bit of Draco, and if they normal summon the Amano Iwado, your monster negates are kind of null and void at that point, which it came up in the last round against a true Draco player. So I saw that he was playing no extra deck, so game one I summoned Hope Harbinger Dweller and set the trap card. So it was pretty much like auto win at that point. But besides that, it was a little bit mediocre. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I think if there's the likelihood that you are going to run into that matchup, you just need some way of dealing with it.
Of course, yeah, that's the thing. You just need to have it there so that you don't kind of auto lose game one. Because that's what happened in round 5 when I played against another two Draco player. Game 1 I go first, but I don't have the trap card, so I set up double negate, but he just is able to break the board really easily because I don't have the extra way to stop him getting diagram off and stuff.
With the side deck, so you went with Sphere Mode. We've seen a couple of people playing Lava Golem and stuff. Would you consider that instead, or do you think Sphere Mode is the better option?
I think I'd probably play Lava Golem in future. The idea behind Sphere Mode was that I knew there were a couple of people at this event who were playing if people know it, the turbo Electromite build where you play 3 Electromites, play the Firewall, the Tri-Gate and stuff like that. It attempts to summon out like
the 4 negate one.
Yeah, that one, the 4 negate one.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that Sphere Mode would be fine enough for that. And also in in the deck, it's not too difficult to bring out the Ignis during the clearing to clear it if you really needed to go for game. I was kind of just struggling to find them last minute, and I only had sphere mods on me, so I decided that it's better than nothing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's fair enough. Anything you would change in the side deck, or do you think the rest of it all worked out fine?
I think the last 9 cards, the 3 Cosmic, the Barrier, and the Evenly's kind of are mandatory. You can't move any of those.
Yeah.
Just because of the way the format is. I'd probably swap out the sphere modes probably for Lava Golems, just because you can attack over it and things such as that.
Yeah.
The Ash Blossoms, they're only really in there for sort of the weird matchups like 60 card, because you don't really want to side them in against Draco, because they're all playing the Amano Iwata now. So you'd rather side in like the Evenlys and the Cosmics. So it's really only there for things like Trickstar or Invoked, but I don't know if there's something potentially better you can put in for those. I have to think about it a bit more. At the moment, I don't think there'd be anything I change too much, just the sphere modes for the Lava Golems.
Yeah, okay, sure. With the extra deck, just seeing if there's anything that I noticed that's not standard compared to the lists we've had before. I think everything in here is fairly standard, apart from, we haven't seen the Mythical Beast stuff, so obviously Harbinger in here and things.
Yeah, of course, because the Cerberus also lets you make the Hope Harbinger as well, because it's a level 8, which is pretty nice for the deck.
And did Dweller work out okay for you?
Dweller worked out pretty well, because I was able to make it against the Draco matchups fairly well, because you can just ask them before the round starts, cards an extra deck, and if they say 0, you know exactly what you're going up against.
Yeah.
And it's usually better than setting up a Vortex, because if you have Vortex plus the Hope Harbinger, they can't really out that board, because what they force to tribute their spell and traps to some of their monsters, which don't get the pops.
Yeah.
And then once they attempt to beat over the Dweller, you just redirect the attacker to the Hope Harbinger, and then they can't beat over it.
Okay, yeah, that's really solid.
Yeah.
Are there any changes you'd make to the extra deck then? I think it looks pretty solid.
I didn't summon the Supreme King Dark Rebellion at all this event, and I've only really summoned it a couple of times in testing. It is good in sort of niche scenarios, but I'm pretty unsure. I was testing Borload for quite a while instead of the Decode, but what I found is that there's quite a few people in Ireland who'd be playing Cherries for your Electromite, and if you only play Borload, Metaltron, and the 2 Electrums, you basically have no Link monsters for the entire game.
Yeah.
Well, for turn 1 anyway, so you're sort of forced to be playing pre-Electromite Magicians. So I just wanted to have the Decode instead, to have a way to sort of set up a decent board turn 1. And the board load is only really there for things such as like Draco and things such as that. I'm still kind of unsure on it. I might end up dropping the Dark Rebellion for the board load, but that's pretty much the only change I think I'd make. Yeah, that
seems really solid. Are there any other changes you'd make to the deck at all, or do you think that's we've covered it all?
I'm unsure on the ratios that I have for the Alliance and the Alliance targets. I might end up cutting the time Pendulum graph at some point, and maybe putting in like a second Pendulum call, and maybe find room for like maybe a Pendulum Paradox, just so you set up your turn 1 and you still have like 5 cards on hand at the end of it, so even if they break your board, because in the Magician matchup, they can most of the time find a way to break the board, but they don't set up that many negates themselves. So if you basically are playing as if you're on turn 1 again with 6 cards in hand going into your turn, you're probably going to win that, because they have less negates. But other than that, that's pretty much what I think I'd keep.
Okay. You just have to watch out for Ash Blossoms then in that case.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's the one thing. That was the one thing that I did also like about the time Pendulum graph, is that because a lot of people are starting to drop the trap now, they see you activate Alliance, and they're going to try and hold their Ash Blossom for the Pendulum call, because they want to get more value out of it, but then you have the trap card, and then the Ash Blossom is dead.
Yeah, that's a cool way of playing around it. Great. Okay. With the matchups, is there any epic moment you want to talk about, or any particular one that you found was perhaps more challenging during the game?
I think round 3, I had to play against one of my friends who was playing the exact same main and extra card for card. And then game 1, it was just kind of whoever went first. Game 1 and 2 was just kind of whoever went first won. Yeah. And then game 3 was like a real sort of grind game, where I was forced to use Cerberus's effect to get rid of his Metaltron, because otherwise he'd be able to add back an Astrograph and just stop me out decaying him, and then he'd be able to out decay me the next turn. Which I think was another thing that I really liked about the Cerberus, is that it does, because it banishes the cards, it doesn't trigger the Astrograph. And there were it was less a case of like sort of insane plays, Other than the fact that going second against Draco, I was lucky enough to open up evenly most of the games when that happened.
That's always nice.
So that yeah, like a game round 6, game 2. I played against he went first with Draco, and he went Majesty, Diagram, Set 5, pass, and then I draw for turn. He flips an anti-spell, I chain Cosmic, and then I enter battle phase evenly, and he's left on one card, and he kind of loses from that point. So I mean, like, the cards did their jobs, but other than that, nothing like too crazy.
Okay, cool. Well, congratulations on doing so well. Thanks for coming on. Have you got any shout-outs you want to make?
Oh, yeah, of course. Shout out to my team, Team Kuriboh. We have a YouTube and Facebook. Just if you look for Team Kuriboh on either of those, it should probably show up.
Yeah.
Shout outs to all the guys on Weebs and Farmers. They all know who they are. And shout outs to Billy for letting me stay over at his house the night before and get a college assignment done so I can actually play this event. Cool.
All right. Thanks very much, and hopefully we'll see you again.
Thanks very much. Bye now.
Bye. Thanks for watching this episode of Top Deck. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, leave them in the comment section down below. Check out the description for details of how you can get involved in this series. You can enter by voice interview, or instead you could just send all of your information over Facebook Messenger. Anything like that will be absolutely fine. If you want to see anything in particular from the upcoming series, then be sure to get in touch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.